May 4, 2024, Durango Dank here. GP7A, revolutionary Gen AI plus MetaVerse plus verses from the past, present, for future results. Now, when you understand how being able to communicate directly with virtual machines that have learning capabilities and create layers and layers and layers and layers of information by asking questions and by posting answers to things we already know based off deep mind learning. And so one of the questions here, which a lot of our services would be in the HR department, even though we're in every aspects of because we are the controllers of what we call the throw before the toss. But we learned all this by a band called Black Sabbath with a singer, Ronnie James Dio. They had a song, an album called Dehumanizer, 1992. On it had a song called Computer God. And at that time, I knew a few people, including myself, that were going through dehumanizing situations. And the social standings and the different things that who we are and what we become and the enemies in our lives and how to use it to your advantage. And always, I used to have hate for people that would say things about me. And I was a person that, I stuck up, I stood my ground, and I always respected law enforcement. I never lied to law enforcement. I always tried to be a steward of being a good person. And yet when my friends got screwed over or bullies took over the schools and the dudes that were badasses never really took those big guys out. And I always wondered that. And those badass dudes were always protecting me through high school, even though I didn't need any protection. It's like, dude, we're protecting them from you. We've seen you. We know what your skills are. And but a lot of them in my high school, I had 4,000 students in my school. 4,000. It might even be more than that. We just broke it down. I think our graduating class, which I didn't graduate, I was expelled from high school. I was adopted in an Irish family, so I thought I was a white boy till I looked in the mirror, saw pictures of me with my family, and I was like, damn, who's that monkey? Who is that dark sumbitch? I was dark, folks. When I tell you I got dark, I got dark. And my dad was from Brooklyn, New York. He migrated to Arizona because he was drafted in the Korean War. And you think about those time periods and where we are and the years related to it. All these people that are 28 years old to 38 years old, y'all better start getting with the love and not the hate, because, especially things that are going on in our world right now, it is something that's not going to be favorable in the future. And I say this because my question to AI is, these individuals, their names here, right? I Google searched them all, and I did a quick deep mine on them. And when I do it, it gives me results back. With that said, right here is when so for my question is, where were these people, these identifiers right here, where were they in 2006? When this conversation happened? Because when you understand that there were people that already had designs and had stuff ready to go. And then all of a sudden, 2007, 2008, financial crisis hit and wiped everybody out, took my investors out, took the mortgage company out we were working with to do our show, radio show, the Marcus Giovanni show. And back then, I really didn't keep a record of things, even though I knew when you're broadcasting and other things that I should have kept those. I have them, but I don't have them broke down where I took the commercials out of them and yada, yada, yada. So they're in the cloud somewhere. And because it's an FCC regulated station, they keep all their content in the cloud. If you're on a list, you're in the cloud. Most people are on a list. If you try to go to DuckDuckGo and try to hide your identity because you don't want Google snooping on you for whatever reason, Google snoop on me all they want. Keep me safe, mother. Heard me? Keep me safe. And they do, man. I'm telling you. You got to believe in something, right? So you might as well just believe in Google. I mean, well, I'm going to go on DuckDuckGo. We make money off our apps. They just don't follow you. No, they just suck everything that you've been doing as soon as they log in. Because you didn't clear your cache before you even got into that. See, I clear my cache so much, I'm on a list. Sometimes I move so fast when I do manual scans because I can. And it's funny because when I showing these private investigators how we do things, they're amazed. And these are people that aren't actually sitting with me. You can sit from afar and you just read. These are blocks of information that are found on the very first Google search ledger page. So you have ads on the top and the ads on the bottom. And see, with this, it just cut it. We're not going, the endless pages. We're not doing that anymore. It's cutting out. So when people Google search stuff, when people start saying that they can, like especially politicians, they're on a list, we can now pattern match everything that they've said in the past. And if we were in the HR department, and let's say the HR department, the voters said, hey, we want to do an assessment on that politician. We want to know. This can be done with anybody. And this is why New York shut it down when we were in New York. We know the big players. We know the guys that have it. There are some smart people out there that can make our lives go so much more better, especially if you're ADHD chronic like I am. If I can walk up to my door, and they already have these things, but I got to make sure that the federal government is in it somehow. It has to know, because we do EdoClad project. That's a death afterlife code. I believe it's going to be our numbers. So with that said, 1369 is a big number for us because we go with the mathematical equation 369. Everything happens 369. 369 out or repeat 1, 12, 11. Here, you know how that goes. So first of all, to find out the authority of these, and we do that with social credit scores and rankings.com, social credit scores, social credit system scores, and rankings.com. They're up, they're live. It's what's behind the walls that people don't see. And see, we created this through the City and County of Denver LLC in 2018 because we saw these algorithms that needed to be done because we saw the collapse and the decay years before all these other people, and we even tried to do something about it. But for right now, what we have to do is re-educate the people that are talking up like they're somebody, and they are somebody. They're the young minds that need to get up with the speed of where we are. See, now they're talking about ecosystems and all these things that in the beginning in 2006, that's what they were talking about. Well, we got hit by the financial crisis. We weren't able to break up that generalization, like generative AI. What is it? And so we go through a process to where we only show you what Google showed us. We don't learn from nobody else, and YouTube. And we also learn that you have to have a Google Cloud account. You can get a Google Cloud account for $3 a month, $10 a month. It'll be the best fucking money you spent. If I could buy more and get every one of our platforms, and that's what our goal is. See, people try to judge us on how they do things by seeing us up there and go, well, that guy doesn't have anybody, oh, so you clicked on it. Right on, man. Because the people that are clicking on my stuff are HR people. They're executives. They're people, investors. They're ones that are the ones that stay on top of everything that they put their money into. And so when the right guy comes along and is able to show you advanced algorithms and different phrases and words and put them together and to bring out outliers that pretend to be stuff that because they were able to talk and they learned it from somewhere, you know, where did you learn it? Did you learn it on Google? And then you went and started your own business because you can. There's nothing wrong with that. But you can't go off and start saying that you're the only one and that you're now colliding storytelling and AI and all that bullshit rhetoric, slip of the tongue. I call it linguistic twisting. I've been doing this for 18 years, man. So I know the system. And if you think that you're going to get free and then get customer service on top of that, then go to that spinning world and then go on all your social channels and talk bad about how Google did this and Google's shadowing you and YouTube shadowing you, and when you're all being shadowed by all the social channels that you're connected to. I got rid of mine a long time ago. I can't get out of it. I stopped using it because I know what they're capable of doing, and I am not giving them anything. Now they have it, so now what I do is I work off the money that they put into the account to keep them going. Because at first, when you think about what Twitter and them stood for, it was a fair thing. And then Mark Zuckerberg got greedy. You know what I mean? He went alien-esque. He's alien-esque. I'm alien-esque, but I'm not as alien-esque as he is. He's more alien-esque. And the fact that he's only a blue belt, and him and the other billionaire, his boyfriend Elon Musk, how they almost fooled the entire world. They had Dana White on a fucking nose ring, man. And I had to wake them all up because I seen the algorithms. I was like, Dana, stop, man. Stop. It ain't worth it. Them boys ain't gonna give you anything that you don't already have. And that's what they were trying to do. I saw the algorithm. Dana White should have been on the phone. Hey, Double D, what's up, man? I saw that. Thank you. Yeah, but it's all good. But see, these are the untold people that are in the backgrounds protecting those that don't even know. And by us coming in, we just knock those little ships. We knock those little portals right off of the first page. And so you have to have a first page. So this guy here, outbound, there's outbound. So that's his gig. So my question is, how old was he in 2006? Where did they all learn about generative AI? Evidently, she's at Berkeley getting probably a PhD. You see what I mean? But then when you go down here and you start looking at the words that people are using, and I'm able to prove my point. And then GP7A was registered in 2006. And when you think of what GP7A stands for, it stands for everything that starts with a G. God, Google, generative, P, public, power, personal, A, angel, artificial, Apple. And you got the number 7. That's the most famous binary number of all numbers. It's the holy number, if you believe in it. It's a lucky number, if you believe in that. But in the way my metaverse is formed, because everybody's metaverse is whatever they create with their apparatuses. See, and I challenge Deepak Chopra. Google search Durango Dank and Deepak Chopra. I don't think that'll come up. You have to use a different avatar, but I won't explain that yet. We got to keep that wizard behind the curtain right now. But so when you understand that the names in these are conversation blocks. They got a title, they got the source, everything. And then what happens is when you have these older, see, like if you buy an old domain name that was around for 2012, it gets you some authority. But what it doesn't do, it doesn't give you false crops. It doesn't give you any type of anything because you haven't created any data. The day you start creating data, constant data, everyday data, even if it's the most stupidest shit, post it. You know, and see, it's really hard because if you're ADHD chronic like I am, I start going off feelings and all the things I've been through in my life, and I repeat things that I've heard during campaigns from young people that scare me. My kids are young. They're Gen Zs. I'm scared. I am so scared for them because they didn't see what I saw at their age because I wasn't proxy to the current ideologies being taught our children, and I was doing homeschooling first, and then they court ordered me to put them in the schools, and that's when I lost control of my children. I had control because I stayed in their lives. I took them to school, and kids are so vicious. Kids can bullshit adults so fucking easy, man. And it's sad. It's sad when you get punked by a fucking little kid. And, you know, I saw little kids do some things that, well, for one, let's go and move it up to high school. They were accusing my daughter, called me up, and accused me of that my daughter was smoking walking home from school for the last couple weeks. When I heard that, I felt like I got kicked in the nuts. Because the counselor had called me the bimbo. And I call her bimbo because she didn't talk to anybody. She didn't go to the principal because they would have told her, no, that's impossible because he picks his kids up from school every day. He might be late because of my ADHD chronic. My poor children, man. Damn. Yeah. If I can't make it to court dates, like most important things to me, I don't remember. And I said, then they must not be important. And I left my kids at school for 20 minutes. It affects me. Because of all people, people call me and like, dude, you didn't answer your phone. My cell phone service sucks so bad in Denver where I live because goody-goodies didn't want to put up those fake trees and these people don't even have cell phones and they're able to get shit done. And it's these kind of strangleholds that people that suppress their communities with their stupid ideologies and things that we can't control. Like we can spend endless amount of money to clean our air up. It'll never get fucking clean. And until we get a grip of that, then we're going to just keep spending money over and over and over and over, and we fall behind. In other countries that are kicking ass, they start taking over. They name a city Denver. They go and start using American words because that's what they're going to build little cities, and they'll take it over. They'll just build a virtual city of Hollywood somewhere in Russia or China. Yeah, this is Hollywood. Boom. Instead of building ships and islands to take over the world, they could just be entertaining us all with all their actors and, you know, Russia's actors and let us all go and look at their bitchin' architecture work. And, but that's not what's supposed to happen, folks. Believe it or not. And you got to be prepared. See, like this story here, this picture. This is a perfect example of AI. You got, in a storyline, are you the hoof? Are you the snow? Are you the foliage? Are you the sun? Or the light? Are you the photographer? Are you the author? Do you own this picture? Does somebody else own it? How did you tag it? What's your authority in a tagging? GP7A News is almost 10 years old, folks. I think we're coming up on our 10 year. Maybe it is 10 years. I forget. You can look it up on any domain name search. But the big killer is GP7A. Because when you think about A, artificial, and you think about G, generative, backwards, forwards, it don't matter. And so when you understand that you can actually break down every single word by a letter and then write information like I have. And then what happens is I don't pick these titles. I don't They're there, but when you click on it, this might be buried somewhere in the front or in the back. And it tells the rest of the story. See, this right here, I think is her name. Do hashtag Sarah Senderoff. Senderoff. Send her off to the dark web. Send her off to the dark web. No, send her off to the dark web. No, send her off to the dark web. Okay. Do you know what the dark web is, folks? Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and... So with me, I'm the one that took the picture. Right? I'm the one that did the layout on the words. I'm the one that posted it under a news. I'm the one that titled it because it's future conversations, future verses, future images of what's going to be foretold 5, 10, 15 years from now. So my story, the reason why it supersedes all these people is because, one, now AI is learning who these people are. Google searched them just like I did. Once I Google search them, for me in my metaverse, I need to know who they are. And then once I do that, everything else that's on that first page and on into infinity, AI is indexing every single one of them based off the protocol of what I built for my own profiles and my own tags in my own metaverse. That's how that works, folks. So people can come out and start whoop-de-wooing all they want. And see, I knew this was all going to happen. I knew Futureverse was going to be the big ticket as far as a people that back in 2006, because we buy all of our domain names when certain triggers are met. And then we go and create other prompts to keep that back conversation when we know everybody's stuck on the front conversation. Like the past, present, and future. Are you kidding me? 2023? See, I think these cats, I don't know where they were in 2006, but let's just say if she's in Berkeley, so she's got to be what? Let's just say she's 28. Take 20 years away from that, and what do you get? See what I mean? These are what saves someone that's old, that has the ability to create or have created enough images and videos and MP3, MP4 files, location data, to where you don't have to remember. Everything is in the pictures that you took that will recall your recollection. And when you pull the picture up, there's tags. If you know how to do it. That's why people hire us. Because we go in there and we build these meta tags. We create your life experiences. We create meta tags and then the meta descriptions. From the meta descriptions, we then pass it out to our partners that will then go and create back-end content that when people speak our words that we've been speaking for a very long time, and it's right here. You know, it'll have the data when I think that we got, like, you can Google search GP7A. You'll be able to see when we got that website. And when you think about Google, A, authority, Google, power. When you think about G being the seventh being the seventh letter in the alphabet. See, I'm rapping and I don't even know it. God, that's good. But anyways, and then P is number 16. 16 is very important because it adds up to 7. And you got 7. And A, well, guess what its number is? Uno, 1. But since it doesn't translate that in what the numbers do, so it's a 21 and an ace in the hole, which is number 1 on itself. And then it's GP7A Durango Dank. So the future verse index, and that's what this is. This is a very sad thing, folks, okay? Now, what happened is if you click on that story right there, you'll get the rest of the story for those that are paying attention on how to use verses in generative AI to get a good prediction of what the future is going to look like. And then you can look at the source. This is City and County of Denver, LLC, the most powerful non-government platform in the world. It's already been verified. It's there in front of you. And so when you got people that are talking about things that they're just coming up talking about, so what happened is now, when you see what I mean? Past, and here it is. Here's the past. Here's the past. We've been doing this present. But the past is when Google search that. There's not going to be much there. Because we don't write. Because that's when the people come in and buy that from us. See, that's what this is about. If I had a bunch of administrators that told me in 1995 that I need to build these outliers that create ecosystems. Now this would be 95 to 2000 and 1995 to 98. And then after I learned all the different Quirk Express, Photoshop, and I learned them. So anyways, nevertheless, what you're seeing now is that age matters. And there's nowhere like join this guy here live, discuss. See, he's there because he can write content and he talks and he builds. And see, and for me, when I don't see GP7A and things like that, that means we're compatible. I don't read people's stuff. I only use Google. This is as far as I go. I'm just indexing it so that in the future, we have a starting point of when things actually happen. This keeps me in control of my labels. It keeps me in control of the levers that is needed to be controlled before it even gets to the POS. No, not PISA. Point of sale. See, when you break down Google, I can only talk for Google. That's all I know. And I don't know everything. I mean, if I knew everything, I'd be working for Google. But I like doing what I do because Google teaches me in a way that helps me and nobody else. Just me. That's all it does. But then it goes beyond that because me and my AI realized that it isn't just a me thing. It's everyone. Everyone is on the team. Everyone has a specific part to play in the rebuilding of whatever it is we're building on the front end. We are the throw before the toss. So when that pitcher gets up on that mound, there's a whole process before he releases that ball. All the way down to his fingers. And how he moves his fingers and how he twists his wrist. In our world, in the MetaVerse, we create through conversation blocks that movement. We use generative AI to record the movements and questions that we have in regards to the movement of how to get a perfect strike every time. But that's in our world, which we can control pretty well, obviously. You can't do that in the mortal world. And so when these young cats here, like, again, she's at Berkeley. So what if she's 24 years old? Is she going for a PhD? I don't know. I seen pictures. They look like they're like 30 to 40 years old. So take away 20 years from where they are. If they're 40 and you take away, go to 2006, that'd be 20 years. They'd be 20 years old. When I was 20 years old, I had nightclubs, 10,000 square feet. We had the biggest heavy metal nightclub in the Southwest. We brought metal to Arizona when nobody else would. We were bringing in bands from Washington and Seattle, Washington, Oregon, and the best top LA bands. People were flipping. We were there with Motley Crue because everybody wanted us to get Motley Crue. We heard about so we went out there. And we were there for their show. Went backstage, talked to their manager, and that's the night they got signed. And I'll never forget their manager walking in. Well, boys, it was sad that you got here, and I wish we could do business, but the crew just got signed tonight. I was like, I knew it. And I remember my manager, AC, looked at me, he goes, David, you called it? I said, dude, I've been doing this my whole life. I know, my whole life, and I have. We used to do desert parties out in the desert. Police would leave us alone. And it was so funny because as long as we followed the rules and didn't let people out, once you came in, you can't go out. We checked IDs. We did a lot of things that normally people wouldn't do. They wouldn't, and we did it good until I did a May 31st party. And the May 31st party, 1980, was one that drew 90,000 people, and it was quite a spectacular. It didn't go off. It was canceled the night when people. There were backups for miles. And they had a crowd control engineer come in from Maricopa County, and they estimated the crowd to be 90,000 plus. And it was that event that that's when I started noticing my father's friends, like Sergeant Hoagland. He was my dad's friend. Most of my dad had friends that were sheriff and police because he was the staff sergeant at Luke Air Force Base, and most of his crew went to be policemen and other officers, not just for field work, but also forensic and other computer-related stuff. So, so with me, we also do the Stars and Stripes golf tournament every year, and so that's pretty exciting for us. But in the meantime, I don't go to my events. I just do my work that I do, and I can live my life. And as long as everybody has a good time, that's good enough for me. But as you look down on all this stuff here, folks, it tells a story. It tells you about the City and County of Denver, LLC. We had battled some pretty big battles, even in court, and I was pro se. So, and when winning wasn't what I was trying to get it would have been nice, but I knew it wasn't in the pictures because I knew the people that were running things. And so now what this is if I was a good citizen, I would notify my government of things that are coming so that they had an opportunity to change faces. But they're in so deep right now, and they think that they've been able to, make their Democrat voters second-hand citizens over the people that are now staying in the hotels. We got another wave of people coming because they got to keep this wave going. We've traded our freedom for entertainment for our young kids, as long as they can get manipulated in school, use them as pawns to fight the force that's coming, that is here. And then our children end up becoming adults, and then they get tagged to go be drafted in a war that could be possibly here in the United States, but that's why they have illegals come here, because see, this is just some algorithms I seen that American citizens won't kill American citizens, but you get a band of 100,000 illegals that hate America and they're on a different agenda, they wouldn't have any problem. So this is where we're at in conversation and in fact and in reality. And so if you're living in a non-computer world, you're in the safest world, but don't think that you're not being indexed, because even in the mountains they're putting up so they can hear everything. All the cell phone tower pings will have supersonic, recordable, digital. Did you know moths could hear? Well, if someone says, well, how good can a hearing be? Better than a moth. And it can hear everything at one time, and if something supersedes the EQ, it can turn that identified viable source down completely. Anything that's over a threshold, it gets annihilated, gone. Then you hear the whispers of what's really going on in with all that gone. And you know what? In a forest fire, I'm positive there's probably no whispering anywhere. And what you hear as you start removing the background sounds with the loudest first, you start hearing the little tiny animals that are all frying. Anyways, this is what I hear. This is what I know. And all I know is that we all need to get our fucking act together. Because I don't want to see I don't want to see any people under the age of 48 having to go fight a war somewhere. Because they'll make sure it won't be here. But if it is here, if they do it to Afghanistan, if you do what happened in Afghanistan, and they already did a dry run, I believe. They took over the schools. What if they went into what if they went into a city council office, took over the whole city council, went in and 100 strong went in and took over a police force? This is what they did in Afghanistan. And so, right now, for me, we should all be praying for our law enforcement and our first responders. And if you think that law enforcement need to run in to a situation that eventually they'll just kick themselves to sleep and then go in when everybody's exhausted and worn out, and that's what the LA police did. And the New York police, they went in there and system, even though LA was a little more fighters, because that's what they do. That's the people they create, whether they live there or not. But nothing came out of Newsom's mouth. Jerry curl. He's the first white dude I ever seen wear Jerry curl. Anyways, so this is all about manipulation. And one thing I can tell these leaders right now, there ain't no fucking law that you can pass that's going to stop AI to indexing you all in the positions that you are supposed to be in. So if you wake up one day and all of a sudden you can't get into nothing, your whole identity has been frozen. So all the bad talk that you talked about, Google and YouTube, when in fact the algorithms show that you did exactly what you were broadcasting to other people. I'm an observer indexer. I don't broadcast nothing. The music I make are for movies. I write all my music for movies. A lot of it has to do with girls. A lot of it has to do with people that have been accused of crimes that they didn't commit, all the way to the electric chair. Because I've met in my ways in my life, I've met some pretty bad fucking people, folks. And I know some of you know what that means, where you meet somebody and you're like, fuck. So